Welcome to this exclusive explainer. Look, today we're not just looking at a standard car concept, we are stepping straight into the showroom of tomorrow. Think of this as a true masterclass on a completely paradigm-shifting idea, Vloris Motors. As someone who spends their life analyzing the absolute bleeding edge of digital design, 3D graphics, and automotive engineering, I've got to tell you, this hypercar isn't just trying to compete with the current market. No way. It is systematically tearing up the entire automotive rulebook. We are going to deconstruct exactly what makes this hyper-realistic, digital-first vision so revolutionary. We'll examine the high-end 3D graphics, the unique physics, and the sheer audacity of its engineering. So get ready, because this design vividly reimagines the entire future of where luxury meets speed.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our syllabus for today's masterclass, mapping out this prototype from its foundational philosophy all the way to its most futuristic features. We'll start with the Vloris core ideology, then examine the exterior bullet-shaped aerodynamics. After that, we're stepping inside the futuristic spaceship interiors, feeling out the dynamic G-force seating, and finally, we'll wrap up by exploring the bleeding edge of human-machine fusion, mind-controlled driving. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The Vloris core ideology, the blueprint of Generation Z. To really wrap our heads around Vloris Motors, you have to understand exactly the environment it was born in. This is a fully digital-first approach. We're not talking about old-school clay models or traditional drafting here. This hyper-realistic virtual space was built entirely from scratch using incredibly advanced digital tools, specifically Unreal Engine and Blender. Building, animating, and testing fluid aerodynamics within these high-end graphics engines allows for absolute clarity in visual design before a single physical part is ever manufactured. It's an absolute game changer. But here is the most wild part about this whole endeavor. 15. The visionary behind this digital-first powerhouse, Anish Ray, is literally only 15 years old. Yeah, you heard me right. We're looking at a teenager who is completely redefining the hypercar industry. Armed with dynamic rendering software and just a relentless drive to build the best, he isn't waiting around for permission from legacy European automakers. He is straight up creating the future of mobility himself.
And the timeline of this project brilliantly illustrates the sheer speed of his innovation. At age 12, while most kids were, stressing over homework, which Anish admits he occasionally skipped, he was already drafting raw sketches and ideating the Vloris concept. Fast forward to now, age 15, and he is presenting these highly complex, fully animated 3D models in Unreal Engine and Blender. Looking ahead to ages 18 to 20, his ultimate goal is to finalize what he considers the world's most futuristic motor. It's just a profound testament to the power of Generation Z's out-of-the-box, digitally native thinking.
Moving on to Section 2, Bullet-Shaped Aerodynamics, Pure Kinetic Efficiency. Let's transition from the software pipeline to the exterior physics. When you look at the Vloris concept, you'll notice it totally abandons those traditional random automotive shapes. It really doesn't look like anything else on the road, and there is a very deliberate engineering philosophy behind that choice. Instead of copying legacy hypercars, Anish actually turned his attention to high-speed rail. He studied YouTube vlogs of Japan's Shinkansen bullet trains. Why? Well, he wanted to fully understand the precise logic of how those trains split the air perfectly into two pathways to ensure smooth, undisturbed flow. He realized that no existing hypercar utilizes a pure bullet shape, despite the massive aerodynamic advantages it offers for speed and stability. So the crucial takeaway here is that by adopting this bullet-shaped structure, the Vloris concept acts as a totally fresh take on physics. It achieves pure kinetic efficiency because it slices the air perfectly. And what does that mean in reality? It means you can completely bypass the need for massive, heavy, gas-guzzling engines. Because the shape of the car naturally multiplies your acceleration by minimizing drag, you just don't need to overcompensate with an excessively expensive, heavy powertrain. This doesn't just boost speed in a single moment, it significantly reduces engine manufacturing costs. It is a beautifully elegant digital solution to a heavy physical legacy problem.
All right, Section 3, Futuristic Spaceship Interiors, Redefining the Hypercar Cabin.
Now that we understand how the exterior cuts through the air, let's rethink the interior user experience. Because the inside of this vehicle is just as revolutionary as the outside. On one hand, you have the old guard. Think classic luxury brands like Rolls-Royce or Bentley. Their interiors often rely heavily on wooden furniture, rigid leather, and very static layouts. It's essentially a 19th century drawing room aesthetic. But on the other hand, there's the Vloris vision. It is completely modern, embracing an ultra-realistic, vibrant spaceship aesthetic. Out with the heavy wood and in with advanced electronics that actually make the cabin feel alive, including exterior colors that can seamlessly morph right at the press of a smart key.
Getting a bit closer to the specific sci-fi features, Vloris includes these incredibly clever, easily attachable snap-on protective wheel shields to keep those high-end rims safe from debris. Inside, that traditional circular steering wheel is entirely gone. It's replaced by a U-shaped cut simulator, breaking old-fashioned trends for a sleek, modern yoke style. But my absolute personal favorite feature has to be the hanging LED land map displays. Instead of some tiny static GPS screen stuck on a center console, Vloris literally surrounds you with dynamic radar and map systems, elevating the passenger experience to what you'd expect on a private jet cruising at 40,000 feet.
And you might be wondering, why pack so much immersive technology into the cabin? Well, think about this number, $15 million. Driving a hypercar isn't just about getting from point A to point B, it is an immensely valuable, multi-million-dollar experience. The interior of the Vloris is meticulously designed, utilizing advanced cameras and fully interactive screens to ensure that every single second you spend inside matches that incredible experiential value.
Next up, Section 4, Dynamic G-Force Seating, responding to physical forces.
This dynamic seating introduces the next level of progressive complexity. Let's see how this builds on the interior experience to address a major flaw in current high-performance vehicles. Look, if you've ever taken a really sharp, high-speed turn, you know firsthand that stiff, plastic-like seats can leave your body totally aching. The driver is constantly fighting the physical forces of the car. The Vloris team recognized that a multi-million-dollar ride absolutely should not be physically punishing. So, what's their solution? Taking direct inspiration from the artificial training simulators used by airplane pilots, Vloris integrates G-force swinging seats. As you navigate the road, these seats actually physically bank and tilt left or right. They respond dynamically to your acceleration, your braking, and your turns. By fluidly mimicking the exact driving angle, the seat cradles you perfectly, essentially neutralizing those heavy G-forces. It delivers an authentic, flight-like feeling of maximum comfort, even when you're traveling at completely unimaginable terrestrial speeds.
Finally, Section 5, Mind-Controlled Driving, the Ultimate Human-Machine Fusion.
For our final section of this masterclass, we transition to the most complex, bleeding-edge concept of the Vloris architecture, operating a vehicle purely with human thought. Brain-computer interface, or BCI, is a massively booming scientific field. Now, what's really interesting here is that this is not science fiction. Actually, scratch that. It sounds like sci-fi, but it is a highly funded, real-world discipline today. Anish actually prioritized studying how brain frequencies are captured by a BCI over other advanced fields like quantum computing. The goal is to completely bridge the gap between human thought and mechanical action, rendering autopilot systems, steering wheels, and physical buttons entirely obsolete.
Let's break this incredible concept down into a tangible, logical process to see how it actually works. Step 1. You simply think of a driving command: a turn, an acceleration, a stop. Step 2. The BCI instantly reads and recognizes those specific brain frequencies and signals. And Step 3. The car executes those fluid maneuvers automatically and instantaneously. There's no reaching for a dial, no fighting a steering wheel. You access the vehicle purely through your mind. It's absolutely wild.
Ultimately, the endgame of Vloris Motors is that the vehicle becomes a direct, effortless extension of the human nervous system. It is the ultimate fusion of man and machine. By integrating BCI with that dynamic G-force seating in the bullet-shaped aerodynamics we discussed, the goal is to create the most futuristic, purely effortless luxury driving experience ever conceived.
So we've just deconstructed a true masterclass in hyper-realistic 3D visualization, kinetic aerodynamics, and brain-computer interfaces, all of it engineered by a 15-year-old visionary. And it leaves us with a truly provocative question. Are legacy automakers genuinely prepared for a future driven purely by the minds and the sheer technological fluency of Generation Z? The old guard relies heavily on the past, but the future of luxury and speed might just be a single thought away. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep your eyes glued to this rapidly evolving space. It's going to be a wild ride.